Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, brought to us by Sega. Castle of Illusion is easily one of my favorite platformers to be released on the Sega Genesis. While the game didn't add any groundbreaking new features, it had some of the nicest drawn backgrounds and character animations on the Sega Genesis. Castle of Illusion was the first of 4 Illusion games that were released on various Sega platforms, however this one will always still be my favorite. So here we go with Castle of Illusion for the Sega Genesis. After you press start, you have the options of changing up your controls, the difficulty, as well as doing a sound test. I'll be leaving everything on the default settings. We then have a tiny bit more story before we get into the game. So Mickey must save Minnie from the evil Mizrabel, while also collecting 7 gems in order to get into the final tower to do battle with her and save Minnie. You can see right away that the backgrounds are just absolutely beautiful, and the music's not too bad either. While controlling Mickey, you can jump and do a ground stomp by pressing down while jumping to jump on top of enemies to defeat them, as well as throw projectiles at enemies. The projectiles change depending upon what level you're in. For this level, you can see that we can pick up apples and launch them at enemies. Mickey may move a little bit slow for some people's taste in the game, but it doesn't affect the gameplay at all. It still works very smoothly and you're never going to have an issue with the slow movement. In Castle of Illusion there are 5 stages, and in those 5 stages we'll collect the 7 gems. The final levels actually have a couple of gems within them, so it kind of speeds up the process a little bit. When swinging on ropes or chains in the game, any enemy that you would run into while swinging will instantly be defeated. Right here, quickly run down the hill and then either jump over the apple or duck down into the pit to avoid being squashed by it. This next area is a very large filled spider web area, where you're going to have to jump from leaf to leaf in order to avoid enemies. Use your projectiles if you have any to destroy spiders from a distance before making your jumps over there, or wait for the spider to retract back into the ceiling. Throughout the game, you're going to find little items laying around, including bags, which will instantly give you 10 of whatever your throwing item is for that level. You're going to find stars that give you 1 hit back in your health, as well as diamonds, which will give you 100 points to your score. As far as the items go, there's only a couple of times where you absolutely need them in the game, and for the most part you're really never going to have to worry about running out, but if you do, especially during boss battles, you don't have to worry because every boss can still be defeated with the butt stomp. This is the 3rd part of stage number 1, and as you can see it's a haunted forest, and you can bounce along the ghost in order to get up here to the upper part, where you're going to find a bag full of 10 items. Once I have that, I'm going to head down. Be careful to avoid the ghost mushrooms that are going to jump out of the walls at you. And then head your way down to the exit for the first boss battle of the game. This first boss battle is a piece of a tree that comes out and starts rolling around. Jump over his rolls, and when he hits the tree again, he ends up dropping acorns in different patterns every time. During that time though, that's going to be your ability to either hit him by throwing an object at him or doing the butt stomp. So just take your time. It'll take a few hits in order to defeat the boss, but it shouldn't be really any trouble. Once you defeat the boss, your first gem will float down from the sky. Pick it up to complete stage number 1. After you complete each stage, Mickey will then walk to the next door to get into the next stage in the game. Stage number 2 takes place inside a toy world, and you can see the exit is right there at the very beginning of the level. However, we have to climb all the way up these mountains in order to get to the key, which is located at the very top. Thankfully though, once we do get that key, all the mountains turn into slopes, and we'll quickly be able to run down them to get to the exit. In Castle of Illusion, you have plenty of jumps, so it should be no problem being able to make it up these mountains and go from platform to platform. Just take your time and jump on top of the toy soldiers, as well as wait for the Jack-in-the-Boxes to retract back in, so that you can jump on top of the boxes they're in. In Castle of Illusion, you start with 2 continues in case you do lose all your lives, as well as you get extra lives by getting a certain amount of score, as you will also find a couple extra lives throughout the levels. When we finally reach the top, you'll see we grab the key, and then we just have to run our way all the way back down the slides of all the ramps that we ran up in order to get back down to that beginning where the exit was located. It's a good way to collect a lot of jewels on your path down to get a little extra score in case you need to build up some points for your extra lives. After we make it up the first spring, we grab a bag of 10 objects so that we can destroy the wall on the left. While riding on the blocks down, be sure to watch out for the Jack-in-the-Box as it pops out of both the right and left walls. When you make it to the Jello, be careful because it will try to pull you down. You're going to have to keep mashing the jump button in order to jump out of it, just like quicksand in a lot of games. However, trying to jump on the Jack-in-the-Box's heads while getting out of the Jello can be a little bit of a pain, and you may end up taking a hit from it. At the beginning of the next section, there's a few yellow bricks to receive for the first time. To destroy the yellow bricks, you have to throw your projectile at them. The good news is, they're going to give you a bag of 10 objects to throw at these yellow bricks. At any other portion of the game when you're going to have to do the same thing, they're always going to give you some objects to throw at the bricks, so you're never going to have to worry about not having the objects in order to get to the next area. In the next section of the level, there's going to be some up and down arrows. Every time that you hit one of these up and down arrows,